What is this kid doing, children? Playing with her shadow? Children, have you ever watched your shadows? Have you played a chasing shadow game? Following the shadow in daily walks or trying to run away from shadow? Have you ever played such games? Children, there are so much fun in the shadow. Children, let us have a look at the poem My Shadow by Robert Louis Stevenson. So, children, let us look at the poem in detail. My Shadow. See, a boy is excited to see his shadow. That is the theme of this poem, right? The boy, just like you, he may be having your age, is excited or he is observing his shadow, right? And we can see the innocent response of a boy in this poem. Look at the first stanza. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me. The boy notices he finds a little shadow. He shares this with you, children. The boy says, I have a little shadow. I have a small shadow that goes in and out with me, that moves with me. He always follows me, that moves quickly with me. And what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He says, I don't know the use of him. I don't know why he follows me. I don't know, or I cannot understand. I cannot see why he is following me, or what is the use of him in my life. I don't understand the use of him in my life. I cannot see that. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head. The boy notices that he is very, very like me. He says, my shadow, I have a little shadow, and that shadow, he looks like me. From the bottom to the top, from the top to the head, he looks like me. He resembles me. Right? And I see him jump before me when I jump into the bed. The boy sees that the shadow follows me always. See, when I jump into the bed, the shadow also jumps along with me. Children, the boy is actually excited to see that, to find that the shadow is following him, right? Let us look at the second stanza. See, it says, the boy notices one interesting thing, one funny thing about the shadow. Look at that. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. The funniest thing is the way the shadow likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. He says that the shadow grows not like proper children, not like normal children. Which is very slow. Normal children's growth is very slow, right? There is a normal growth rate. But it doesn't go with a normal rate. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball. And he sometimes gets so little that there is none of him at all. See, this is the interesting thing. This is the funniest thing that the boy notices about this shadow, right? The shadow becomes bigger sometimes it becomes too small. It is not like normal or proper children's growth. Look at this stanza once again. The funniest thing about him means about the shadow, is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children. The growth of this shadow is not like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball. Sometimes he becomes tall like an India rubber ball. See? Means when we put a ball downstairs, it comes up, right? And the shadow just shoots up just like India rubber ball. And for sometimes he gets so little that there is none of him at all. Sometimes we cannot even identify his presence. Right? Children, now look at the third stanza. See, here he shares his experience that had one fine morning. One morning, very early, before the sun, I was up. The boy woke up very early before the sunrise, right? I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. See, morning has its own specialities, right? See, when you go out in the evening, you can see dewdrops on every plant, in the grass, right? On the flowers. See, he says, I rose and found shining dew on every buttercup. Buttercup is an yellow colored flower, children. And he could notice, he could see dewdrops on this buttercup. On every buttercup, dewdrops were there on these flowers. Alright, one morning, very early, before the sun, I was up. I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But he noticed one thing. He got up very early, even before the sunrise, and he could see dewdrops on the flowers. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was forced to sleep in bed. The boy says that, but I was not followed by my shadow. He was still sleeping in the bed. He's an errant sleepyhead. Errant means very bad sleepyhead. Sleepyhead means one who looks like sleepy always, one who would like to sleep always, right? Like a sleepyhead, my lazy little shadow was sleeping. He may be sleeping in the bed. He stayed at home behind me and was forced to sleep in bed. He couldn't notice his shadow following him that fine morning even before the sunrise. So he feels that the shadow may be lazy and he may be laying in the